Then I'll mute the microphones and we'll get started. So we're just going to lie back in Shavasana. I'll put my earpiece in. Can you hear me, Dale? Give me the thumbs up if you can. Good. Okay, so we're going to just center ourselves on the yoga mat, just lying in Shavasana or semi-supine or seated, whichever position you prefer. So just start by relaxing the whole body. So we just take a few moments to make that connection with our yoga class, leaving the past and the future to one side, being in the here and now. Just have a scan around the body for any tension, try and relax those muscles. If any stray thoughts or worries come along, just observe them. Don't try to push them away. Just observe them, let them pass you by. And any time that happens, just focus on the breath, the sound of the breath coming in and out, and the cool air coming in, the warm air going out. So just take a few more moments and be with yourself. So we'll just come back to our place on the yoga mat, moving the fingers, moving the toes, gently moving the head from side to side. And in your own time, come up into sitting. So we'll just start with a little bit of breathing first of all, sitting in a cross-legged position. Taking the back of the left hand onto the palm of the right hand. Just straightening the back, so just lift those shoulders, lift the breastbone. Keep them lifted. Lengthen the back of the neck. Just make some space between those vertebrae. And we're going to follow the breath. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Just allow the breathing to come back to its normal rhythm. and slowly coming up into standing. So we'll just start with our shoulders first of all, just swinging the arms in a relaxed fashion back and forth. Just think about how your body feels today. Have you got any injuries or any long-term issues? If you have, then just work around those. That means modifying poses or sitting out poses. Just lying in Shavasana if you need to. Rotating those shoulders back over, around the outside edges of those shoulder joints. Sometimes we don't use the outside edges of our joints, so it's a good idea to put them into action from time to time just to clear out any debris that might have crystallized at the edges. And rotating forwards. And just relaxing those arms down. So we're going to have a little stretch coming up onto the balls of the feet, so slightly wider than shoulder width apart with your feet. And just a gentle stretch up onto the balls of the feet. And then releasing back down. So we're going to breathe with it, breathing as we go up. Breathing in, exhaling as we go down. So just a few gentle stretches first of all. So if things are starting to free up for you, you may want to try and just stretch a little higher. Just coming up. Just be gentle with your body. Exhaling down. Coming up and holding it for a few breaths. Coming down. Bringing our arms in. Up on the balls of the feet, rotating the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, stretching out fingertips to fingertips. Really make those arms long. So if you feel you've stretched your arms out, let's just do the little test. We'll just think about shoulders to elbows, extending, stretching, elbows to wrists, extending and stretching. Wrists to fingertips, extending out nice and wide. Take a breath in, inhale and stretch. Spreading the fingers, tightening the palms, stretching up into the fingertips, down into the balls of the feet. Coming back to shoulder level, lowering the heels. So do 3 more of those, inhaling up. Shoulders, elbows, wrists. Inhale and stretch. Back to shoulder level. Lower the heels. Shoulders, elbows, wrists. Inhale and stretch. Shoulders, elbows, wrists. Inhale and stretch. I always lose count. We'll do 1 for luck. Shoulders, elbows, wrists. Inhale and stretch. Just holding that for a few breaths. Back to shoulder level. Lowering the heels and just easing the body. So we're going to do some shoulder pulls next. So stretching out fingertips to fingertips, back to front. And then alternate arms. And really sort of jab the arm forward as you go forward and try to get the rear arm up, palm facing the ceiling as you go back. And then coming down to finger flicks. So we take the thumbs onto the middle two fingers, flicking back, working into the shoulder girdle. Taking those arms out wide, stretching fingertips to fingertips, just keeping the arms horizontal and drawing the shoulder blades together, pinching the flesh in the center of the back and releasing. So we're engaging our rhomboid muscles, engage and release, engage and release, engage and release, and just relaxing those arms down. So we'll do some box squats next, slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the feet. So just have a look at the spot between your heels. That's kind of the direction we're going in. We don't have to take our tailbone down to that spot, but we're heading in that general direction. So we're going to lengthen up. So it's a squat, so we just bend the knees and try and keep the bottom from going out over, taking the tailbone down towards that spot, coming slowly through the range, coming up into high flight, straightening the knees and looking forward, looking up and sweeping back through. And as we come to the top, we'll do a little back bend, so just taking the hands over the brow and sweeping back through into flight. Little back bend. Just two more of those. That's one. And two. And bringing those arms down actively. Releasing the body once again. So we're just going to do a little shallow lunge. So we just take a little step forward so that the gap between your heel and your toes is around about, I don't know, 20 inches, something like that. Keeping those shoulders lined up with the front of the mat. Lift the shoulders, lift the breastbone, lengthen the back of the neck. So just feel as though you're sort of floating on a plane almost, and you're going to bend that front knee, lunging forwards, and then straighten the front knee, bend the left knee, going back over, back and forwards a few times. So if we keep our shoulders and breastbone lifted, and we're going to take a step back with that front foot and just repeat the process. And coming out of it. Okay, so we'll get ready for our 6 directions, coming to the back of the mat. Again, slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the feet. So we're going to turn the rotor cuffs of the shoulders out, just rotating the arms so that the palms are facing out to the sides, or almost. And we're going to bring those arms up to the horizontal, stretching out, turning the palms over, Try and keep the elbows around shoulder level. I can't do it, so I'm not going to overdo that one. So just bringing our arms into this position and then pulling the shoulder blades together. See, my elbows have dropped a bit. I'll try lifting them up, but there's not much flexibility in that department. So taking those palms and pushing them back over, up towards the ceiling. Just a few little pulses up towards the ceiling there. And then looping the fingers into the belt line. So we want a nice little back bend here. So just looping those fingers. And we're going to take the shoulders forwards, up and back. Rounding the belly forwards, tilting the pelvis. Just to get this nice little back bend in this area here. So it's not a huge bend, it's quite a small bend. But we can enhance it a little bit just by bending the knees, taking the head back, taking a big breath in and a forceful hard breath out. Just feeling those palms flex. Keep everything as it is. Bring the head in line with the spine, straighten the knees, release the fingers. And then just take a look at the floor between your feet before we do the next part. We're going to go down into a ragdoll, so it's a non-working back, just curling the back down one vertebra at a time. So just dipping the shoulders, alternately dipping those shoulders, working our way down. So just go down as far as feels okay for yourself. Don't go beyond about 4 or 5 inches off the floor. Just allow those arms to release. Allow the head to release. So the idea is not to be grasping onto the muscles in the arms or the head. Just let it release completely. We'll take a few breaths in and sigh them out. As we sigh out, we should feel the arms swaying. Nice deep breath in. So if you've got back issues, you can keep your knees slightly bent in all of these forward bending type postures. If your back's okay, you can try straightening the knees, looking through the legs. So we're going to come up to a count of 24. That's the number of movable vertebrae we've got. And the idea is trying to uncurl the spine from the base of the spine up to the head, one vertebra at a time. So we're just going to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Just easing those shoulders back. Then we're going to get ready for our forward bend. So just keeping your feet where they were. And we're going to lengthen up. So we're working with the hip joints here. We're bending at the hip joints. We're trying to keep the rest of the body from the hip joints up over in a nice straight line. So to do that, just keep looking at the fingertips as we go down. So imagine you're halfway under a small rainbow. I'm going to paint that rainbow down towards the floor. Taking a breath in. Exhale. Keep that back nice and flat. Keep looking at those fingers, looking out. Just go to wherever suits yourself, maybe halfway down the shins, down to the ankle level, down to the foot level, or even onto the floor. And when we get down here, we're going to engage our core muscles before we come back up. So pulling the navel back to the spine, tightening the abdominals, Inhaling up. Little back bend at the top. Exhale, and we go again, trying to get further away from our toes if possible. Engage the core and inhale up. So just 2 more of those. Keep that back nice and flat and reach out as far as you can without tipping over. Engage in the core, inhaling up. Engage the core, inhale up. Coming back to the top, turning the arms out, bringing them down, stretching them out all the way down. So whatever you do in yoga, just try and engage the muscles of the body as best you can. So we're going to go for a side bend next. So slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the feet, turning the rotor cuffs of the shoulders out. Bringing those palms up, palms facing. And just relax the neck. Just give the spine a little bit of a ripple just to loosen it up. And imagine you're between 2 panes of glass, back and front. So we can only actually bend in the side plane. That's what we're trying to achieve. So taking a breath in. Exhale as we go over. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Inhale. A few more of those. Coming back to center. Turn those arms out and bring them down actively once again. And just relaxing the arms. Ready for our standing twist. So the idea of the standing twist is to try and keep your pelvis lined up with the front of the mat. So we're not involving the feet up to the hip joints in the twisting. It's just from there upwards. So what we do is we visualize pushing the right hip forward when we twist round to the right. Visualize pushing the left hip forward as we go round to the left. And hopefully that will keep us lined up in the front of the mat. Pushing the heels of the palms out, taking a breath in. Exhale, round to the right. Visualize pushing the right hip forward. Keeping everything at shoulder level. Following the leading hand with the eyes. Inhaling back to center. Exhale round to the left. Visualize pushing the left hip forward. Inhale back to center. Exhale round to the right. So the leading hand stretches out. The following hand goes onto the shoulder. The other elbow stays up at shoulder height. Inhale back to center. Just think about where your hips are. Are they moving round? Or are you managing to keep them front facing? Coming back to center, bringing those arms down. So as you're doing the postures, just sort of think about all the aspects of the posture, the parts of the body. So yoga is a bit of a science. It's referred to as a science in many other books that I've read. So although the postures are, you see photographs of them in the books and they kind of look as though they're static. No posture's static. We're actually kind of moving and adjusting, just micro adjustments, just to get the best out of the posture. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of balancing. So just rooting down into the right foot, coming up into a plane balance, so pushing the energy down that leg. As it rebounds, we just come up onto one leg and try and take the arms down by the sides and find the steadiness. So if you focus on a spot about 12 or 15 feet away and just engage the core muscles, pulling the navel back to the spine, tightening the abdominals, and finding the steadiness. So when I first came to yoga, I thought standing on one leg was a bit of a strange thing to do. Not really sort of demanding maybe, although some of the balances are quite difficult. So we're going to come down out of that one, root down into the left. As that energy comes back up the leg, find ourselves in a nice steady balance. So we're working with nearly half the proreceptors in the body, because most of them are in the ankle, to stop you falling over and bumping your head, which could be fatal in some cases. So balancing is quite an important thing. And people that practice yoga, practice balancing in maybe Pilates, I don't know, other disciplines, have been scientifically shown to have less falls than the rest of the population. So we're coming down out of that. So we'll do the tree pose next, which is a balance. So if you're new to this, you might want to just put your heel onto your ankle and keep the ball of the left foot on the floor. So that looks as though you're cheating, but you'll actually find that you're working with the same muscles. Your body's still trying to balance in that situation. Alternately, if you want to go to the extreme, people put the leg right up into the groin area, and then it's a question of whether your leg will stay there or whether it shoots out. Mine tends to shoot out. So the other options are just on the lower leg, on the top of the calf, and although it's being discouraged, the side of the knee isn't a problem as long as you're not pushing against the side of the knee. It's being actually worked out by some kind of physiotherapist, physicist, that you can't really damage your knee if you don't push hard on it. So we're going to root down into that right foot, and as we come up, just bring the arms up, bring the leg up, hands in Uttara Bodhi, and just find the steadiness, focus on a spot, pull the navel back to the spine, tighten the abdominals. So if that's quite demanding for you, just sort of breathe into it. If you want to try and make it a bit more pronounced, you can take that leg around to the side. Stretching up into the fingertips. And I'm going to come down from that. And just ease that standing leg, just give it a little shake. So that was my good side. So this side, when I hold it for a long time, I start to get cramp. It's one of the few things in yoga where I tend to get cramp these days. When I first started yoga, I used to get cramp in my feet when I was kneeling down, and cramp anywhere. So we're going to root down into this left foot and come up into our tree pose. Breathing into it. And coming down from that. I usually mention that balancing on a spongy floor is a bit difficult, so that's why I've rolled my mat out of the way, but it's a bit late for you now. But I once did a balance. I went on a sort of a retreat as part of my yoga teacher training, and we're in this room that had really thick underlay and shag pile carpet, and it was almost impossible to balance on that. Okay, so we're going to do an inversion next. So that just means taking the head below the heart, allowing a little bit more blood to come down into the brain than usual. So we're just going to go into a downward dog. So we use our forward bend, just lengthening up and just bending at the hips only, keeping nice flat back, coming down and then walking the hands forwards into a downward facing dog. So we're not worried too much about the absolute positioning of the posture. We're just trying to get the head below the heart and just allowing the blood to come down there as we breathe in and out nice and steadily. So if we want to make this a bit of a deeper inversion, we can go down onto our forearms into dolphin, clasping the hands together. So the forehead's maybe about 4 or 5 inches off the floor. And if you want to make it a bit deeper again, take the crown of the head between the clasped hands and walk the feet in slightly. So we won't walk too far because we don't want to go up into a full headstand. Try and keep the weight off the head, just support yourself with your forearms and your elbows. Breathing into it. Coming down onto the knees. And allow that blood to drain back to the rest of the body. Okay, so we're going to go for our shoulder stand. So I think we'll do shoulder stand and what I would call a half plough. So I'm not trying to encourage you to touch the floor behind you. If you want to do that, that's fine. So quite often you can do the plough just having a chair behind you, or you can just imagine there's a chair behind you. So we're going to go up into our shoulder stand. So my shoulder stand is nowhere near perfect. You're supposed to try and walk your hands up your back until your back's practically vertical to the floor. And my elbow should be closer into the body, but flexibility doesn't allow. So you work with what you've got. So trying to line up from the shoulders, through the hips, through the knees, the ankles. So those rhomboid stretches we do at the beginning, if you could try engaging those rhomboids in the shoulder stand, it's supposed to help. So just going to go over into a half plough. So taking the legs about horizontal to the floor. And breathing into it if you can. Coming back up into shoulder stand. So to come down from our shoulder stand, we need to just tilt the legs back towards the plough slightly so that we can release our hands, bridge the hands from the floor, and then we roll down looking over the brow. Just coming down in a nice controlled fashion. Whew. So just bringing yourself back up to seated for a moment, just to allow the blood to get back to the right places. So with the plough, we're doing quite a bend, a forward bend, albeit upside down. So we're going to do a little back bend called the fish in order to have a little counter pose to that one. So lying back in Shavasana. So the heels are about mat width apart. If you're worried about where your hands ought to be, you can take your fingers onto your breastbone and then just open the elbows and allow the backs of the hands to go down on the floor. That gives you a good position for your Shavasana. We'll just take a few breaths here. Nice deep breaths in and out. So for the fish, we bring the feet together. We're going to take the hands underneath the buttocks, so the palms of the hands are flat on the mat. The backs of the hands are supporting the buttocks, and the thumbnails and the knuckles of the thumbs are kind of touching together side by side. So the important thing with this one is to treat your neck very gently, so we don't put any load onto the head. We just touch the head on the mat and look back over towards the wall behind us. So first of all, just pushing up on the forearms and the elbows, looking at the feet, and then arching the neck slowly backwards so that you're looking probably at the middle of the wall behind you. And then gently you can sort of pull back on your arms so that the arch in your back increases, and then just lowering the head to touch the mat and looking at the wall about 18 inches, 2 feet up from the floor. Unless you've got a very pronounced back bend, in which case you might be looking at the skirting board. Breathing into it. So just be aware of that nice back bend there. So to come out, just push down on the elbows and the forearms, bring the head slowly round, looking down at the feet. And this time we just allow the back to drape down onto the mat, so lower back, mid back, upper back and back of the head going down onto the mat. And just lying in Shavasana once again. So the next thing that we're going to do is bridge. So again, lying on our backs, bringing the heels up towards the sitting bones or towards the buttocks. I like to pull my feet in a bit. It's just a little thing I always do. So heels near the sitting bones, palms flat on the floor beside your hips. And the idea of this is to work each individual vertebrae as you go up into it. So we're going to kind of peel the back up off the floor, and when we come back down, we're going to drape the back down one vertebrae at a time. So we're just going to take a big breath in, big breath out, pull your navel back towards your spine, tilt the pelvis, just continue that direction, peeling the back up off the floor, coming up onto the shoulders. Try and keep your knees about 4 or 5 inches apart. Relax your neck. So engaging the glutes and the quads, just pushing the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Holding a nice steady bridge. I always used to think, why do they call it the bridge? Because it's more like a sort of wedge of cheese or something. But if you look in some of the books, like the book I got recently, they do the bridge with the weight on the head, which is a bit tricky. So they've actually got the shoulders off the floor and the weight on the head, which I would never recommend. So I suppose that's kind of like a bridge from one side of the river to the other. So just breathing nicely into this bridge. So to come down, we're going to focus on the shoulders, coming off the shoulders onto the shoulder blades, and coming off the shoulder blades onto the upper mid-back, and then the middle mid-back going down, the lower mid-back, upper lumbar, mid-lumbar, lower lumbar, sacrum touching down, tailbone touching down. And we're taking our arms out wide. We're going to do a little supine twist, bringing our lower legs together, so the knees, the ankles, the sides of the feet are next to each other, touching. And we're going to keep them together as a sort of package and just take those legs over to the right and look to the left. And we're going to breathe into it, 3 nice big breaths in and out. And slowly bringing those legs back through center, turning the head to the other side. Legs over to the left, looking to the right, breathing into it again. Coming back to center. And I'll just have a look at where we're going next. Right, so we're going to do Apanasana, which is the wind relieving pose. So it carries a government health warning, especially in a normal yoga class in a hall or a gym. So we're going to go down onto our backs. We'll just do the half wind relieving pose first. So we're going to bring the right knee up, clasp the hands around the knee. Just lengthen your arms out, pushing the knee away from your body first of all, taking a nice big breath in. And exhale, push all the air out, hug that leg in. So try and make some contact between your thigh and your lower rib cage. Breathe in and out. As you breathe out, just try and hug the knee in a little bit further. And then just release that leg away. Bring the left knee up, clasp around it, lengthen the arms, take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, hug it in. And just breathe in and out. Try and encourage that thigh to come in contact with the rib cage. Releasing the leg down. Just roll out into Shavasana for a couple of breaths. So the next thing is going to be the full wind relieving pose. So we use both legs at once, and you can either hold the individual knees, or if you want to make it a bit deeper, you can clasp around the knees. So if you go to an Ayurvedic doctor in India, or in this country for that matter, one of the things that they always prescribe is the wind relieving pose, because it massages the internal organs. It gets the toxins moved around the body and the lymphatic system. We're going to bring the knees onto the chest. Either hold the knees individually or clasp around. Just extend the arms out, take a big breath in. Exhale, push all the air out, hug the legs in, trying to make as much contact with the abdomen and the thighs. Breathing into it. On the out breath, just try to encourage those knees to come in a bit tighter. So in this pose, we're sort of pulling the legs down onto the abdomen. There's not much assistance from gravity, but we're going to follow that through. Just release those legs down and come up into a low kneeling position. So we're going to get gravity on our side this time. So we're going to basically do the same kind of thing, only instead of hugging the knees in, we're actually lowering the torso onto the knees. So we're going to go into child's position. So my toes are touching together. Just round the shoulders up and lift the breastbone, lengthen the back of the neck. And we're just going to fold at the hips, coming down into child's pose. So I like to put my thumbs under the lower shins and just encourage a little bit folding. Taking the head onto the mat if you can. Breathing into it. So it's a little hard to breathe in this position, but you can try and just use as much of your lungs as possible. And we're just going to do a little bit of sunbird sequence. So we're going to unfold at the hips, dragging the arms along the mat as the hands come by the knees, sweeping those arms out, coming up into a kneeling salute. So we're tilting back over, doing a little back bend at the top here. And then we're going to fold back down to where we came from. Touching the head down on the mat. And we'll come up again, inhaling as we go up. Exhale as we go down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Bringing those arms down actively. So we're in our high kneeling position at the moment. We're going to go back to low kneeling, and we're going to do another further massage of these organs and lymphatic systems in here. So we're going to make fists with the hands and bring the fists in the lower abdomen. So just try and get right down into the lower abdomen with the knuckles of the fists touching together, and lengthen up again, lifting the shoulders and the breastbone. And we're going to just go over those fists and come down into a sort of a child's pose with the fists down there. So you won't be able to go as far. You'll be able to take some nice breaths in and out. I'm just coming back up out of that one. And we're going to go for our seated side bend. Sorry, our seated forward bend next. So we take the legs out about inner leg distance apart, or inside measurement. So we've got a sort of equilateral triangle here. And the important thing is to make sure we're up on our sitting bones. So I like to push down on my fists and lift myself up, and then drop myself down on those solid bones at the bottom of the pelvis, the sitting bones, or the sit bones they're sometimes called. So the idea is to do a forward bend over each leg, then we'll go down the middle, and then we'll do legs together. So we're just going to go into a little twist, take the right arm out, twisting round, just looking over the shoulder. Just encourage a slight twist with the left hand on the knee, and come back and look down the right leg. So keep up on your sitting bones, don't slump, don't allow your stomach to start to crease in the middle, as it were. Keep yourself nice and long, so loosening up the spine, taking a breath in. As we exhale, try and roll the abdomen onto the thigh. Inhaling up. So doing it like that, we may think it's all about touching our toes. Well, it's not. We're going to take our palms out, palms facing, and lengthen up. Breath in, exhale, pull the navel back to the spine as you go down. Inhaling up. So really try and roll the abdomen down the thighs. So you lengthen out, project those fingers away from your hips as you come down. So this time we'll come down, we'll just hold the position. So you can take your hand around your foot and just breathe and try and sink down on the out breaths. And go palms facing, come back up. Back to center, bringing the arms down actively. Making sure you're up on your sitting bones still. So this time we're going to twist around to the left. Come back and look down the left leg. Start with thumbs together to loosen the spine up. Taking a breath in. Exhale, pull the navel back to the spine. Inhaling up, palms facing, lengthen up again. Really lengthen up, keep that distance long from the fingertips down to the sitting bones. And come down and hold it. So you can take a hold of your foot if you want, and just breathe in and out and allow yourself to relax down onto the thigh or towards the thigh. Not all of us can touch the thigh. Palms facing, coming back up, back to center, bringing those arms down actively. And whilst we're in this position, we're going to put our palms down on the mat in between our knees. So we're going to use our fingers to dig into the mat and sort of help to lengthen the back, get a nice straight back. And then we'll just slide the hands forwards. And we'll dig the fingers in and lengthen the back again. And slide the hands forwards till you can clear your thighs with your elbows. And the intention, but not the absolute for everybody, is to take those elbows down towards the mat or possibly on the mat. We'll keep lengthening up. Exhale. Digging those fingers in, lengthening up. Exhale. Remembering to keep that back nice and flat if you can. Digging the fingers in, lengthening up. Exhaling down. And breathing into it. So wherever you get to, that's fine. Just breathe into it. Feel the posture sort of enhancing and diminishing as you breathe in and out. And coming back up again. So we're just going to slide the hands back in, take the feet together, ready for our seated forward bend with the legs together, which is called Paschimottanasana. Make sure you're up on your sitting bones once again. Lengthening up, hooking those thumbs together, relax your neck a bit. Really make that spine nice and fluid. Taking a breath in. Exhale, pull the navel back to the spine. Inhaling up. Palms facing, lengthening up. This time we're going to go down and hold the position. So you can clasp around the sides of the feet, you can clasp over the tops of the feet. Some people have shorter legs and longer arms. They can actually go around the feet and take a hold of the wrist. But there's no way I'm ever going to get to that. Who knows, I might get to it. If I can get my shoulders down near my kneecaps, that might give me a bit more length. But we're not going to force anything. So just releasing, palms facing, coming back up, turning the arms out, bringing them down actively. And this next posture is kind of my nemesis because my hands are not flexible, so I can't point my fingers back over very well. So the idea is you would be pointing your hands back over as you go up into this. But because my fingers and wrists are not very flexible, I settle for doing fists on the floor like this. So if you've got nice flexible hands, then you'll be able to point your fingers straight out behind you. So the idea is it's sort of an upside down press up. We're going to just bring the body up into a straight line, spine in a straight line and head in line with the spine. So this one does act on the triceps quite a bit. So we're just going to push up, taking the head in line with the spine. Mind you, if you've got your hands the right way around, if there is such a thing, then you might be experiencing quite a different thing. Breathing into it. And coming down. Oh! Yeah, pretty demanding on the old arms. And we're going to come on to our fronts. Ready for... How's the time? Right. Ready for some Cobra. So with Cobra, we tuck the elbows into the rib cage at the sides, and we take the knuckles in the middles of the fingers to about eye level. Although if you want to make this a stronger Cobra, you actually take your hands back further, maybe even back to the chest, and that puts more demand on the lower back as you come up into Cobra. So I'm going to just go with the sort of sensible knuckles level with the eyes position. Toes touching together, taking the forehead down onto the mat, forehead and nose touching the mat. So we're going to be gentle with our necks by thinking through forehead touching, nose touching, chin touching, pushing up into high Cobra, looking up. Then we lower off on the forearms, so the forearms are about 45 degrees to the mat. And just hold that, take a breath in. Slowly follow the exhale down. Touching down with the chin, the nose, the forehead. So you can do one breath, or you can follow me for 2 breaths. Whatever suits you. Forehead, nose, chin, rising up, lowering off, breath in, breath out, breath in, follow the breath down, chin, nose, forehead. So by observing that chin, nose, forehead business, if there's any sort of nerves that are kind of trapped in your vertebrae of your neck, then that'll help maybe release some of those nerves. So if you want to do 1 or 2 breaths, that's fine, or follow me for 3 breaths. So forehead, nose, chin, rising up, lowering off, taking a breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in, follow the breath down, nice and slowly. Chin, nose, forehead. Take the arms alongside the body, round the shoulders down, take the head to one side, and just really feel that connection with the mat. Just let all of the body flatten down onto the mat, releasing all the tension in the body. Just take 3 breaths in and out, nice big breaths, sigh them out if you want to. and head on the other side. And 3 more breaths. And where are we going next? Okay, I'm just going to bring the arms forward into reverse Shavasana, just extending those arms straight ahead. And just gently stretching out into the fingertips, stretching out into the toes, just lengthening the body from fingertips to toes. Breathing into it. And we're going to do some locust preparation and then a full locust. So we're going to take the hands alongside the body, chin in the center, just resting on the chin. So we're going to work with our right leg first. So extending, stretching out into the toes of the right leg, pushing the leg away from the hips and lifting the leg up nice and straight and just holding it. So your hip joint should be off the mat on the right side, and the rest of your body, including the navel, stays on the mat. And we take a few breaths here. Really stretching out into that leg. Lowering the leg down, stretching out the left leg before raising it up. Taking a few breaths. So the left hip's off the mat, as well as the leg. Lowering the leg down. So we'll just change our focus to the front of the body. We're going to just peel the shoulders and the chest off the mat and look forwards and upwards slightly. Inhaling up. Breathing into it. Coming back down, making fists with the hands and tucking them under the hip joints, toes together. And this time we're going to stretch out both legs and then raise them up. So taking a breath in, raising the legs up, just holding them there. Just lengthen the legs, stretching out into the toes. Keeping the chin on the floor if possible. Lowering off, releasing the fists. So we're ready for our full locust. And this is where basically we raise the front of the body, the back of the body, and we're kind of balancing on the navel almost. So inhaling up. Maybe a bit more than the navel. Breathing into it. And coming down. Just bring the arms forwards. palm of one hand on the back of the other hand, and just put the head down on the back of the hand and relax a little bit. Breathe into it. So we're coming up into cross-leg position. Just doing a seated twist. So taking the right arm forwards, taking the left hand onto the right knee, and then we're just going to twist round, bringing the right hand to support the torso. Just prop yourself up nice and upright, looking over the front of the shoulder. A little bit of pressure on this arm on the knee, not too much. Just breathing into it, release a bit of tension, bring the chin along the collarbones, look up over the other shoulder, bring it back through. So if you are twisted as much as you want to twist, listen to what your body's telling you, then just stay here and breathe. If you want to go a little bit further, we'll do it in 3 steps using the breath. So taking our first breath in, exhale, just twisting around slightly more, just a little bit. And stop there if you need to. Second breath. Exhale, twisting around a bit further. Again, stop here if you need to. And inhale, exhale, twisting around a touch more. Breathe into it, nice big breaths. Imagine your abdomen's like a big coiled helical spring. Ease the body, raise this rear arm up, bring it round slowly like the second hand of a clock. Coming round onto the other knee, extending the left arm forwards and twisting round to the other side, propping the body up with the left hand behind the left buttock, looking over the front of the shoulder. Depends on your flexibility, of course. If you're very flexible in the twisting mode, then you may be looking over the middle of the shoulder. You might be looking backwards for all I know. Or is that a ventriloquist dummy I'm thinking of? Possibly. Just easing that, bringing the chin through, along the collarbones, looking up over the other shoulder, sweeping back through. So either just stay here and breathe into it. If you want to go little increments further, just go as far as makes sense to your body. Taking a breath in, exhale, twisting around a touch more. Second breath if you want to go there. Exhale, twisting around. And third breath. Breathing into it. And just ease the body, tick the arm around like second hand. Coming back to the front, bringing our knuckles together, massaging the spine, just pushing the elbows forwards. Okay. So we'll do a half Lord of the Fishes pose, which is a twist. And it's one that my teacher never used to do, and I asked her why she didn't do it. And she said, well, that twist that we've just done was far better, far more effective. But we'll just take the left foot over the right knee, place it down on the floor, and then we're going to take the left elbow on the inside of the knee and support the torso with the right hand propping us up, and then just twisting round, looking over the front of the shoulder. And they're slowly coming out of that. We'll do that on the other side. It kind of looks like a nice yoga pose, doesn't it? So again, we're going to take the right elbow on the inside of the left knee, prop the body up, and then just twisting around, looking over the shoulder. And releasing out of that. And we're going to come up into standing. So we've done a lot on the mat today, but we'll just finish off with a bit of standing work. So we're going to go into mountain pose. So slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the feet, making sure the knees are above the ankles, the hips above the knees, turning the palms of the hands out. Lift your shoulders up, lift your breastbone up, lengthen the back of the neck. Tweaking the knees up slightly without locking the knees. Bringing the arms up into volcano, as I call it. It's called triangle in my latest book. Then we're going to do a thing called the twisted tree. So what we do is we just twist the body around and we look across the inner forearm, just above the elbow. Take a few breaths. Then coming back through center, and we go to the other side. Twisted tree once again, looking across the forearm. And coming back to center. So we'll just do a little bit of sun salutation, and then we'll go into some relaxation. Just find the music. A bit of finding. Coming at the front of the mat, hands in prayer position. Nice deep breaths in and out. Rotating the hands away from you, just keep them going round. They'll go exactly where we need them to. Palms spacing upwards, bending the knees, rounding the belly down, going into flight, looking up, then sweeping through, linking the thumbs together, going back to salute the sun. Imagine you're painting the underside of the rainbow, bending at the hips, coming down as you get to about shin height, sweep in into a forward fold, stepping back with the right foot, right knee goes down and we're looking up, and stepping back with the left foot, going into downward facing dog, little stretch in there, coming forward into plank. You may need to shuffle your legs backwards a bit. So nice straight body, head in line with the spine, down on the knees, keep the knees wide, toes together, sinking down into the extended child's pose. Then imagine you're pushing a ping pong ball along the mat with your nose. See if you can get past your fingers. If you can't, just modify it. Coming up into cobra, tucking the toes under, pushing up into downward facing dog. Walk the feet forwards, bridge the fingers, step forward right foot. Left knee goes down, we're looking up. Step forward left. Fingernails on the knees, sweeping down the shins, sweeping out, going back to salute the sun. Coming down into prayer position. And we'll go on the left side, rotating the hands around into our little back bend, belly rounding down, looking up in flight. Sweeping through, thumbs together, back to salute the sun. Painting the rainbow, forward bending, sweeping into a forward fold, stepping back with the left foot, left knee down, looking up, stepping back right foot, stretch into dog, and forward into plank, down on the knees and back on the heels, down into extended child, pushing the ping pong ball along the mat, rising up into cobra, tucking the toes under, pushing up into down dog, making space to step forward left foot, right knee down, looking up, step forward right, fingernails down the knees and the shins, arching out, back to salute the sun, down into prayer position. So just do one more round fairly swiftly, rotating the hands, rounding the belly down, sweeping through, back to salute the sun, forward bending, painting the rainbow, forward fold, step back right foot, and step back left foot, stretch into dog, forward into plank, down on the knees, back on the heels, pushing that ping pong ball through, up into cobra, toes under, up into dog, walk the feet forward, bridge the fingers, step forward right, step forward left, down the shins, arching out, down into prayer position, ready for the left side, rotating, and sweeping through, painting the rainbow, step back left, step back right, stretch into dog, forward into plank, down on the knees, back on the heels, pushing the ping pong ball through, up into cobra, toes under, up into dog, making space, step forward left, and step forward right, down the shins, arching out, back to salute the sun, down into prayer position, and we'll just flourish out of that, and we'll get ready for some relaxation. So if you want to put some socks on, put a sweater on, use a blanket, whichever. Okay, so we'll do our time-honoured relaxation script that my teacher Audrey passed on to me. So I've called it Audrey's relaxation script, remastered by Eric because I've changed a few little bits. Naughty me. Okay. So the script's written for people lying in Shavasana, but you don't have to lie in Shavasana. You can lie in semi-supine, you can be seated, you could even sit on a chair. The only thing is when the script mentions your legs rolling out sideways, it might sort of jar and disturb your relaxation unless you're able to ignore that one. Okay. So just steady the breathing, let the breath come back to its natural rhythm after our salute to the sun sequence. So lying in Shavasana, let the whole body relax. So this is a relaxation that involves visualization of a warming ball of heat and light energy coming into the body, relaxing parts of the body as we mention their names. Just basically helps you to take your attention to those parts of the body in order to help to relax them. Now take your attention to your breathing. Take deeper breaths. Make the outward breath twice as long as your inward breath. You can do this by straw breathing, just pursing the lips, reducing the flow of air as you breathe out, almost as if you're breathing out through a drinking straw. So without becoming anxious about it, just try and lengthen the out breath. Feel your body being supported by the floor beneath your mat, the foundations under the floor, and the earth and rock beyond. Just melt into the yoga mat. Now take your awareness to your feet. Feel a warm, relaxing energy going into the toes, the soles of the feet, the heels, the ankles, the tops of the feet. Just let the feet roll outwards. Take your awareness into your shins, the calves, behind the knees, fronts of the knees, into the hamstrings and the thighs. Let the legs roll outwards, completely relaxed. Relax the buttocks and feel your back sinking into the mat and shoulders resting heavily. Take your awareness into the pelvic area and feel the viscera, the organs, sinking back towards the spine. The muscles of the abdomen relaxing, the psoas muscles relaxing, the intercostal muscles also relaxing. Feel the muscles and the organs in the torso, front and back, relaxing and releasing tension, creating space for everything to work as it should. Relax the shoulders once more. Relax the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, fingers, and the thumbs. Feel the tension flowing down the arms to the fingers and beyond. Keep the neck and throat area soft. It is a bridge between the physical and mental energies. Relax the jawbone and facial muscles, especially around the lips, cheeks, ears, nose, and the eyes. Feel the eyes sinking back in their sockets, eyelids heavy, and forehead smoothing away all the tensions of the day. Relax the scalp and feel this warming energy traveling over the back of the head, down the spinal muscles, relaxing them on its way down to pool at its place of rest in the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine. In the same way as you relax the body, you need to relax the mind. To do this, you need to focus on the heart center, where all you feel is peace, love, and warmth. Now stay a while and just be with yourself. Start taking deeper breaths, slowly bringing your awareness back to your place in this room. Move your fingers and your toes. Gently move your head from side to side. On the next in-breath, take both arms overhead and have a lovely gentle stretch right up into your fingertips and down into your heels, bringing your arms down with a yawn or a sigh, and have another stretch if you would like one. Now turn over onto your right side and take a moment to recover. And in your own time, come up into sitting. place our hands in Namaste. We say Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all for coming this evening.
Thank you, Eric.
I'll just stop my recording.